we don't necessarily want to tip off the management team that we're selling
Correct?
necessarily prematurely, but also when we do, we want, I guess, to give them the confidence to stay for that transition plus, right? Okay.
Yes. And the way I approach that
Yeah. How do you?
is, yeah, the way I approach that is we start early. So when I talked about the roadmap, we start with what do they want to do with their business assets? And we list them out. And so, for example, the management team, every woman I've ever worked with feels super strongly. I want my management team, I want all my employees to keep their jobs.
Okay.
And I want to see if you can give them better benefits. Because as a small company, I'm kind of limited. But you're a
Mm.
big company that's gobbling up my company.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see if we can provide better benefits, perhaps do pay increases. What can you do? Or maybe offer bonuses. That's a really great strategy because the buyer is usually very willing to do that.
Right,
And
because there's retention, right? I'll give you a bonus on the day you stay, and then 6 months from now, if you're still here, type thing.
yes, or because you don't want people quiet quitting and looking
Yeah.
for other jobs. So
Right.
what they usually do is base it on performance.
Gotcha. Makes total sense.
And that's what I recommend. And so, and we don't do a bonus at the beginning with the sale. They
Okay.
get to keep their job, which is a benefit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we give them all these wonderful benefits, like more paid time off, sometimes unlimited time off, which has
Mm.
gotten real popular. Uh, um, so we load them up with benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And because these business owners have worked with their staff for usually a pretty long time, 10, 15 years, they know them well and they know what they care about. So they ask for that as part of the transaction. And that's the importance of that roadmap is figuring out what's important to you as the owner and the seller
Mm-hmm.
and what you want to have happen. And I mentioned at the beginning, sometimes they care a lot more about money. Sometimes they care a lot more about what they want for their staff. Sometimes they care a lot more about um, they don't want to be involved in the transition past 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Most companies that buy want the owner to stay at least a year and sometimes longer than that.
Mm.
And I always recommend that the seller
Mm-hmm.
negotiate 6 months with an option to stay longer.
Okay.
And sometimes
Why,
the
why,
bigger
why is
company,
that? What's the benefit? Why?
well, because this is a giant exercise in letting go.
I love that line.
And this goes back to mindset.
Okay.
And so here you are a woman business owner. You spent 20 years building your company. You've done things your way. You've been your own boss. Now somebody is coming and buying your company and they're going to do things differently, completely differently. And you're
Yeah.
not going to like it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be frustrating for you. And your staff is still going to come to you and expect you to fix things. But
Mm.
now you've given up your power.
Mm.
You don't have the
Mm-hmm.
power to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
And before you were spending your own money. Now you're spending somebody else's money.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a huge challenge for women that are high achieving, used to being their own boss, really enjoyed having the power to make those decisions. And now they've sold that power.
Mm. Mm.
So when they stay longer, it becomes much more painful.